Well, really enjoyed our time yesterday, and so here's my little input, the stuff that I heard as we were quieting and listening about the alliance. So I just had kept hearing the scripture in Ephesians 3 about being rooted and grounded in love. And as I was listening, I was thinking about, actually, I was thinking about Aspen Grove, and what I have learned, and I'm sure many of you know, that aspen groves, aspen trees, actually their root system entwines underground, and so in one sense they are all like one tree in a whole forest. And so the largest organic uh, system in the world is the largest aspen grove. And so what I was seeing was, as we in the alliance get rooted and grounded in love, in relational underground connection with each other, um, there'll be just an increased growth on the surface of what I sense was the tree of life, like the tree of life that's the healing to the nations. And I felt like our vision of being an alliance that brings transformation, not only to individuals, but to families and communities and even to the nations, will be fulfilled to the depth in which we are rooted and grounded not only in the love of God, but in our love for each other. And so that was the metaphor I felt like the Lord dropped in my spirit about what one of the things that He's after, and why it makes sense for us to pursue these deeper relationships with each other. And then another thing that I have been thinking about that came up on my screen was a scripture in, uh, I think it's First Peter. Is it First Peter? Um, anyway, it's the scripture that right at the heart of it says, um, "Love covers a multitude of sins," and it is First Peter. Yes, it is First Peter 4. And it's the section 7 to 10. But especially this part, verse 8, it says, "Above all, constantly echo God's love and God's intense love for one another. For love will be a canopy over a multitude of sins. Be compassionate to foreigners without complaining. Every believer has received grace gifts to use them to serve one another as faithful stewards of the many-colored tapestry of God's grace." And I felt like the Lord was highlighting the fact that each of our streams and our own lives and our own leadership, we have these grace gifts. And as we bring them together and knit them together in a tapestry, it expands a canopy that covers a multitude of sins in the lives of people that are being ministered to from our streams, but also ministered to out of the convergence or the weaving together of everything that we have to offer to one another and in ministry. And so those are the two things that especially highlighted the combination of our grace gifts, the power of weaving that all together and covering the sins of humanity. And then the expanding forest of the tree of life, propping up every spot, rising up everywhere, because we have taken the time to get rooted and grounded in love together. So that's my thoughts.